Hey everyone, welcome to Gin and Gist. Again, I'm KJ.
I'm
I'm
Precious.
Khadi- I'm Khadijah.
Okay.
One day we'll
Well,
get it
thanks.
down.
I know one day we'll get this shit together.
Right.
Okay. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. What is everyone drinking today? I have nice little Seagram, something to cool me down. Chilled.
Of course, has to be. I'm sipping on some Capriccio,
Oh
mixing it
snap!
up.
That looks classy as fuck.
Oh, it is.
I'm not drinking today, Ramadan and all that, keeping it holy.
Where's your water?
Inshallah.
My
Assalamu
water, I'm
alaikum.
Water.
fasting.
Oh, you can't drink water
I
either?
can't drink or eat.
You said drink water.
I'm drinking air right now.
Oh,
That's what I'm
snap.
doing.
I didn't know water was part of that. Wow. Okay, I just learned
Yeah.
something new today.
That's
Yeah.
lit. That's lit. Okay, cool. So the topic for today's discussion is toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. So these are words that are always thrown around, right? You always see them, but like I really want to see like from everyone's perspective, what does that word mean? So Precious, let us know, like to you, what is toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity is, I don't even know how to put it in words, but I don't even know how to put this in words. Like, it's kind of something you just kind of see and pick up from men when they let their masculinity get to a point that everything is considered gay, or they're afraid to do like normal things because of how society views them, or like how their bros would view them, like literally things like exfoliating. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to put in words.
Okay, and then Deej, do you have anything to add to that? What's your view of toxic masculinity?
I think toxic masculinity is also where men they're not able to be in touch with the other side of themselves. So being sensitive, having emotions outside of anger and aggressiveness. I think that's one thing about toxic masculinity. And then it's also really, for me, it's like, I associate toxic masculinity with violence in general. So,
Okay. So I think
Sure.
the common things we're hearing is like aggression, like not really being in touch with the other side of yourself, right? Because newsflash to all the listeners, everyone has both testosterone and estrogen. So we all out here with feminine energy as well as masculine energy.
Masculine.
Obviously, males have more masculine energy, but I think the ability to, like, when you really suppress your feminine energy because of, like you said, what people are going to think of you, what society's going to say, the fact that you don't want to come off gay, or like you're really like oversensitive about your masculinity, like, oh my god, if I go get my nails done, I look gay, or like if I talk to this guy
I'm less
that's
of a
gay, that
man
means
because
I'm gay, right?
keeping up with myself.
Or even the fact that like I'm less of a man because I have these thoughts or whatever, like.
And also a lack of emotional intelligence, like read the room.
But where do you guys think that really stemmed from? Like, do you think it's kind of like, do you think women play a part in it? Because like I can make the same argument. Like, for example, I hear people say all the time about, women are getting their butt injections and liposuction because of the way men view women. So do you think that maybe all of that forced aggression and all of that toxic masculinity is kind of like as a result of what women expect?
Absolutely. Because you'll see women who say that I don't want my man to even order an appetizer at dinner because it makes him less of a man, or that's just concerning to them. So I think
that's new.
I saw it on Twitter. Twitter, everybody has these real extreme views.
Everybody's a fucking Twitter philosophist these days. I can't take it.
Exactly. But I think women, we also play into toxic masculinity, and we also place those expectations on men as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. Like, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong, but the light-skinned men jokes, the short men jokes, those, like the men with braids jokes. Like, I definitely play a part in that, and I definitely laugh at those kind of jokes. It's definitely wrong, but it definitely plays a huge part in what men see as
Yeah.
manly and what they see as a weak man.
Yeah, and I think it's like, sometimes when, I think it's also like a nature and nurture thing, right? Like that you're as you're growing up, you might have been discouraged from doing certain things, or you might have been told like, oh no, why are you crying? Like that's not what a guy does.
Right.
And I mean, I'll say that I play a part in it also, because I do feel like I'm not like a level playing field. I feel like there's things that, as a male that you should be more in touch with. Like, we're not about to be crying together 24/7. Like, that's just not how I envision myself in a relationship with a man. Not even a sexual relationship or physical relationship, but like just even a friendship. Like, you can cry on my shoulder, I can cry on yours, but like we're not supposed to be displaying our emotions at the same way. But I think like that really gets ingrained in some people as they grow up. So, they automatically feel like, oh no, I gotta hide from everything. And then I think that's also why you see like a lot of guys like with their bros, like everything is good. They'll just, like, what's up, we're going out. But like when they really get with their girlfriends, that's when they'll start telling their emotions. And not like girlfriend, like romantic, but like even their, female friends, that's when they really start like getting into their emotions, talking about how they're feeling about something, because when they're around their guys, they feel like, oh no, everything gotta be okay all the time.
Which is why every man, I'm an advocate for every man having like a woman in his life. Like whether it's a girlfriend, wife, a sister, just a woman you can talk to. Every man needs that. Like I actually have a friend, I'm not even gonna say his name. There's nothing wrong, but I'm not gonna say his name, but basically he shows me his group chats with his guys, and those like are his only set of friends. And then he has like my friendship with like a few other girls, right? And those messages are like insane, like
toxic,
like sexist, like just craziness in those messages. And it's just like, wow, like these are really your friends, and like this is okay, like this comes off okay. Like I want to go into detail.
It makes me wonder if men are actually able to build like real connections with their guy friends if they're not able to be vulnerable with them. Like, if any time that you have something to say that is relatively emotional, they are at your neck, coming at you, making fun of you.
Right.
Like, how do you really feel close to them if you can't even tell them, oh, this is hurting me, or this is making me feel some type of way, without it being a joke?
Right. Yeah. And like, I know we had our share of pillow talks and stuff, but I honestly, I don't see men doing that. I've seen, being around like my boyfriend and his friends, I've seen them get drunk and be like, yo, bro, I really love you, man. Like, that's probably the most I've seen. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's as deep as it gets. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a level of it probably comes with emotional maturity also, because like I think you see that a lot more. Like, it's like older men that like have like older friends, and then they can just like kind of sit and chill. I don't know. I feel like I've seen this shit on TV. True. I've never seen it in real life. Like I've never, but hopefully at some point men get support from other men. So I guess maybe like let's switch gears a little bit. We'll come back to toxic masculinity, but let's talk about toxic femininity, right? And maybe to kind of frame it, let's talk about it from like a feminist perspective. Like, how does feminism get to a point where it's toxic, or is feminism toxic? Like, let's really expand on that. So Deej, let's hear it.
I like, when I think about toxic femininity, it's not really from a feminist perspective. So the way that I think about it is, in some instances, it's how we're expected to be passive and quiet, demure, and all that stuff, and how we kind of use that as a way to take advantage of situations. So when I think about, this is not about like race or anything, but in the 60s, when it came to like either the Emmett Till situation, and there's so many other situations where the white woman is like the poster child of all things feminine. So if she feels threatened, then whatever, it doesn't matter who did what, or if it even happened, that person is guilty. So Emmett Till was automatically guilty, and he ended up dying as a result. And I feel like that was the epitome of what toxic femininity is, like using what power you have as a woman and using it for negative. or using it for harm.
Yeah. Race definitely played a huge part in that as well too.
It did. It absolutely did.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, I think that's a good perspective. I think I think of toxic femininity from. I agree with you to that point. I think like when you use your power of being a woman to for evil, like when you abuse that power, like that innocence and that like everybody's gonna believe me because I'm a girl, I gotta do is cry, like that's toxic. I think some people even use that for like manipulation, like like really trying to get people to do what they wanted them to do because you have that softness, you have that power in your softness. I also think of toxic femininity from like a kind of like a feminism view, which is like, and this is controversial. So, this is just my opinion, and this is where I am in my level of growth. But I think like really when people are so interested in being equal with males that they forego like the true essence of themselves, like so interested in being like, oh yeah, everything that a guy can do, I can do. So interested in being like, oh yes, I'm independent, I got my own. That like you're not you're now acting like you don't want love in your life. You're now acting like you don't want someone to court you and to cherish you and to adore you and to open the door for you. Like now you're just like, oh no, I got everything. I'm gonna do everything by myself. I don't care about these niggas. Like when deep down we all know that you crying, sis. Like we all know, like
you're not happy.
You want someone to hug you.
You just right. And that's fine. Like
it's fine. Like it's good.
You can say it.
And, I mean, and that's like also the assumption is being vulnerable is being weak. Like because you're able to be vulnerable, that's like a sign of weakness. And that's something that I personally struggle with because I don't like to cry. I don't like to be I don't like to be that person. But there's nothing wrong with crying. You just gotta but like talking about crying, I think like when I think about toxic femininity, it's like being in an argument with like, let's say your parents or your boyfriend. And as soon as you start hearing things that you don't like, you start crying so that the conversation can end. And
I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but
I do it sometimes, but I'm guilty.
Like the term white tears. Like basically like when something's going wrong, Becky always start crying. Like, why are you crying, Becky? Like, those videos where like it's like she's calling the police and trying to get the black man out of her apartment building because she don't think he lived there. And then when he proves that she's wrong, she want to start crying.
It's just like, what's going on?
Like you're wrong, and that's why you're upset.
I used to do it with my dad because my dad, he's like very like if you start crying near him, he's like he just doesn't know what to do. He's like, do you want potato and egg? Like, should I go make you pancake? Like, he's just like, what's happening here? So like if he ever like when he starts attacking me and I feel like he's just like, oh no, don't
do that.
So yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah, sometimes the toxicity is innocent. Like I know when I don't get something I want with my boyfriend or my mom or something, I just
I start pouting. I get quiet.
Right, just go sit down somewhere,
Right, just be on my phone scrolling, looking miserable.
Right. I do it too sometimes.
No, I mean, definitely, I think that's our power, right? Like your power is in your softness and in I think when you start like, especially in relationships, like when you start getting into like screaming argument with your boyfriend, like that shit's not gonna get you any because guess who knows how to scream better than you do? Like, so, right. But when you get quiet on him, oh, that's what he's like. Oh, good. What have I done? Okay. Right. Are you confused? What's going on? So yeah, I think really just understanding that power, that's something, and it's tough, right? Because you're taught that like, oh, when you're little, you're taught that, oh, okay, as a girl, you're supposed to do this and do that. And then like you start growing up and you start seeing people abuse other people's like femininity, seeing people like, that look dumb because they believed a guy or look dumb because they, sent him nudes or whatever. And their trust was taken for granted. So then you start developing this like hard shell, like, oh yeah, I'm not going to let anybody take advantage of me. Right. And then you have to like unlearn that shit when you get into like a healthy relationship, because it's like, no, I do have a role to be vulnerable. Like that is where my power is in this relationship. So I think, it's tough, right? Balancing that and trust. Like So many till this day and tomorrow, girls will still be getting heartbroken over like being vulnerable. So I don't know what we can do.
Also,
the streets of Baltimore are calling. The streets of Baltimore.
I'm in the ghetto, okay. But what are your guys' opinion on men paying bills? And I say this to say, I know like where women are becoming more, we're evolving, and we're no longer like traditional, and we don't necessarily believe in the woman has to cook and all that stuff. So I know me on Twitter or and Instagram, I'm seeing things a lot about, you know, like you learn how to cook yourself. Like, why do you need a woman to cook for you? Why do you need a woman to clean? Like, you know, feminism, I'm all for it. But in the same breath, women are saying, I need a nigga that's gonna pay my bills. And if he don't pay my bills, he's not really my man. And like, you know, like basically the goal is to find a baller or a nigga to spend money on you. But since we're moving away from those traditional values or roles, I should say, like, why are we still so pressed up on a nigga like spending money on us?
Good question.
And I'm on that boat. I'm on this table too because I want my man to pay my bills.
Okay, so
you know,
I agree. But
you know, at the same time, I enjoy cooking. I don't mind cooking and stuff like that. Yeah. But I know I have cousins who are like, yeah, I'm a feminist and I'm not gonna cook for my husband. We're gonna have to take turns cooking and all that shit. But you know, he's gonna pay the rent, and he's gonna pay the bills, and I'll help out where I can. Like, okay.
I feel like that's not fair though.
It's not.
I think that at the end of the day, there are different responsibilities in the household. If one person is taking up this side of the deal, then you got to do your part and do the other side. Right. So that's not fair. But for me, I actually enjoy cooking. I enjoy some of those things. I don't like cleaning, but those are things that I enjoy. So I do that for my friends, let alone for my boyfriend or for my husband. Right. But what I'm seeing a lot on Twitter, like you were saying, is women are saying, yeah, I want you to pay, I want you to have money to be able to support the family, whatever. But men, they want us to split bills half, and then on top of it, want us to take care of all the household duties.
Right. Like
and that's not it for me. Like, you cannot expect me to go half on rent, half on electricity, half on everything, and then want me to be the only one cooking, the only one cleaning,
right?
The only one buying groceries. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And I will say, sorry, go ahead, KJ.
No, I was just gonna say, I think the way I think about it is like, I think I'm more I'm more of like if I had to be on the spectrum, I'm more traditional. And the part of the guys piece that I understand is that I'm not gonna ask someone that I'm with or someone that I care about to do beyond their means. So I'm not gonna like say, oh, you gotta pay all the rent if I know you don't got it like that. If I'm, also working, maybe making more money than you, then I think that we should be sensible and reasonable in the way that we do those types of things. While I do believe that, providing for the family is completely the man's role. So that I think that's his role, but that's not to say that like if I'm bringing money into the situation or if I have more money or whatever, that I'm not going to also do my part to help, because we're even talking like, traditionally or, spiritually, I don't know what everyone believes in, but like, your role as a woman is to be a helper in the relationship. So if your guy is not able to do it all by himself, then that's where you come in. But I will say that like, in terms of like cooking and taking care of the home and things like that, and even like raising the kids, like I think, tradition has said that, oh, that's like a woman's duties in the house. But it was a woman's duties when women were not working, right? They weren't doing anything. They just sit at home. I'm not gonna say they weren't doing anything. They were doing a lot, but they weren't doing it outside of the home, right? We both get home at 6 p.m. So if I'm cooking,
you better be helping the kids with the homework.
You better be, you know what I'm saying? You better be sweeping. You better be loading up the dishwasher. Like, and that's not to say that, oh, now you're serving me or I don't respect you as much. Like, I still I take pride in the things that I'm going to be doing, like, taking care of the home and stuff like that. But just like I'm helping you with the bills or, like I also need you to kind of help in this way. And I read something recently that was talking about how like men are naturally givers, right? Like, we always think like women are the ones that are always supposed to be caring and giving and stuff like that. But men are actually the givers, right? Men are the ones that men are supposed to be like always trying to give of themselves to their family. Like they're always supposed to be trying to provide and give and like do everything they can to make sure that their house, like they're the ones at the end of the day responsible for their household. So they're always supposed to be trying to give and nurture their family, even though we always think that, oh, women are the natural nurturers, like the guy should just come, I sit down, I the house, I watch the TV. But like he's supposed to actually be the one that's like, you guys are supposed to be trying to outgive each other. Like, oh, who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? Like, almost arguing off of just like being too servient to each other. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what my place in that argument is, because I feel like, I think it's also like on a relationship to relationship basis.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. I think on the spectrum, I'm closer to the traditional side because I do believe in gender roles to an extent. I know me for sure, like when I get older and I'm married, I will practice the normal traditional gender roles to an extent. Like it comes to a place, like I'm not going to get to a place where like I won't let my son play with a doll. Like it's not going to get to that point. But in terms of like my man being the head and me submitting to him, like if he's worth submitting to, that will come easily to me. And I don't believe men and women should be equal in the sense that we're supposed to be a partnership. Like when it comes to the pay and, wages and things of that nature, like in society, yes, like I'm a feminist and I agree, like we should be equal. But when it comes to, the family lifestyle, like I think it's more so of a partnership. Like we already know women are the superior sex. That's not that's like we endure way more than men do. And men cannot endure half of what we endure. Like even like somebody, I forgot who it was, there's a quote, like, I don't know why we argue about who's the superior. We already know women is. It's true. So I definitely feel like, we're, instead of competing to be equal, we need to kind of figure out how we complement each other.
Yeah.
Drops mic.
No, that's facts. That was lit. That was lit. So how do y'all feel about, so I think in the context of marriage, it's pretty like, it's pretty clear where we stand. How do y'all feel about like when dating, like going half on dates and like, paying for dates, things like that? How do you guys navigate that? Or like give a practical example. Like what have you guys done in the past?
I go half on excursions with my friends. I don't
Bitch.
Okay. So, like, I'm going to use my current relationship as an example. For me, if I would not have known that he was interested in me in more than a friendship if he hadn't been paying for the times that we went out together. And this is like outside of regular conversation. So, if he wasn't inviting me out to go places and then making sure that, I got our movie tickets way ahead of time. Like that showed me that he was interested in me romantically.
Right.
But at the same time, once I actually start really liking a guy, that's where I'm more willing to pay for things. So now I don't mind paying for our dinner. I don't mind paying for excursions that we do. I plan things because this is something that I want to do for us. But like I said, I go half on things with my friends. I don't go half on things with my boyfriend.
Right. I can agree with that. Right.
You said it all.
No, I'm a strong believer in whoever asks for that first date should be the person paying for that first date. Like if it's the girl asking, if I'm saying, hey, would you like to come out to dinner with me? If he comes out with me, he has to expect that I'll pay for it, But if I'm dating somebody or in that talking phase, it's sexier when the man is paying. Like it's I don't know, it's just something about a man reaching into his wallet and just opening it up. It makes me hot, honestly.
He's Igbo, so you guys understand the context.
But like what Deej was saying, like once you get familiar and comfortable and like you're in love, like it's no problem going in my wallet and being the one to pay. That's not an issue. But definitely in the beginning, if he's toasting me, which normally is the case, the man is chasing the women, definitely he needs to be paying.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just not the person that will ever, I don't think I will ever court a man. Right. So I don't believe that I will be the one looking for you. Like, he who finds a wife, period. Not
the
she who finds herself
to the egg.
In the laps of a man. No. So, so yeah. pay for what? I don't get it. Like if you didn't have the money, like if I'm paying, that means we're not dating, right? Like if I'm paying, that means we are friends that went to a location.
It's not a
and
date.
we have each taken our individual selves out. We just so happen to be there at the same time.
Wait.
If you like, I mean, that's the truth, right? And then
It's
once I
true.
get into a relationship, oh yeah, you're gonna enjoy all the benefits of being in a relationship. Like there's times when I want to do for you. There's times when I want to take you on a date. There's times when I want to plan something for us, and you will enjoy that. But don't expect, like, how can you expect that you're the one courting someone and then you're gonna be paying half? I think the problem comes from like nonsensical dating. Like when you're just dating just for the fun of the moment, you don't really see anything with this person, you don't really even care about them that much, or you don't want a future with them. So you're just like, oh, I'm not about to be spending my money, which there's no reason for you to be dating in that case.
Right. I don't know if I ever told you guys, mini story time, but when back in the day, 2016, when I was single, I was talking to this Ghanaian guy. We weren't talking that seriously. It was kind of like I had a crush on him. He had one on me. Like we always gave each other those eyes, but nothing was ever formal. We literally weren't even talking. So one day I posted on Snapchat, one movie came out, like one thriller, and I love thrillers. So I was really fiending to see this movie. And it was during summer school at Howard. And I remember like nobody was available to go. So I was like, I'm about to go see this movie by myself. So I posted on my Snap the night before I was going to go. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see so-and-so movie. I don't remember what it was, but I can't wait to see this movie tomorrow. So the guy sees the Snap. He messages me like, oh, you want to see that movie? I've been wanting to see it too. I'm like, oh, cool. Sounds good. Blah, blah, blah. And we start talking and he's like, you mind if I, join you on this movie thing, whatever? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, like I like him. He didn't know I liked him, but I did. And I was like, okay, cool. It's a date. So I think it was 8:00. He was supposed to pick me up on campus. And, Chinatown is like literally a 10-minute drive from campus. So the movie was supposed to be at 8. So he was supposed to get here like 7:00 maybe. And at like 6:30, this man is like, I'm running late. I'm like, okay, no problem. So 7:00 comes, 7:15 comes. And he's like, yeah, I was trying to get a haircut. I just drove all the way to Virginia for a haircut. And I'm running late. You mind going to the movie theater? I'll just meet you there. I'm like, okay. So now I'm running late for the movie. So I'm getting dressed and whatever. And he's like, you know what? I'm not too far away. Just wait for me. I'll come get you. Okay. So, and this is not even the gist of the story. Like, fast forward, he picks me up. We go to the movie. Obviously, we missed the movie. So we had to see another movie. It was a Kevin Hart and The Rock movie. End up seeing that movie. So we're going to buy the tickets. And the woman tells us the total. It was $27.93. I remember. I'll never forget this. And this man looks at me. And I look at him. And mind you, there's a long line. And he's like, oh, $27.93. Oh, and he had his wallet in his pocket. I saw it in the bulge. And he starts pulling it out slowly. And at that time, I had stopped paying attention to him. So I just pulled out my card and paid for it. And let me tell you, I was silent the whole movie. He dropped me home. He was like, I want to do this again. I was like, no, let's see. And like, basically, I got the money back. I made him order me food like 2 weeks later. But that was such a huge turnoff. And I was like, I had a huge crush on this man, like huge crush. He went from a 10 to a 0, literally in minutes. Like, worst experience ever.
Guys, you're hearing this live and direct. You can go from a 10 to a 0 in minutes.
And that was my only experience with a Ghanaian man.
27.93.
And that's it for Ghanaian man.
Like,
Never again.
Kwame, don't do it again.
Fucking Kwame.
Oh shit. Okay, cool.
I do have a question.
So,
yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is, I don't know if this counts as even part of our discussion, but in Senegalese culture, they have a dowry. They have it in Nigeria too, right?
I know where you're going.
Yes, ma'am.
So would you consider, we are in America, we're born and raised here, we are less traditional. Do you still expect that tradition to be upheld? Or do you feel like that tradition is a form of like masculinity that's kind of toxic?
Khadyja, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. I don't know. This is a touchy one, right? Because I think there's a place for tradition. Not entirely like I don't fully understand the uh cultural implication of like a bride price or like a dowry or whatever. Obviously we always joke about it like, hey, bride price just went up, blah, blah, blah. I don't expect that my husband or fiance or whoever I'm presenting to my parents needs to give them some sort of monetary value in exchange for my hand in marriage. Actually, not that I don't expect it, that would not be tolerated. But what I would say is that for the sake of like the aesthetic, like I think at a traditional marriage, I think like the husband's supposed to bring some yams or something and like a bag of rice and like I feel like I would just count that as like a decoration expense at the wedding. Like, oh yeah, he's like like just for the sake of like the look. I don't know. Obviously, this is something I haven't even talked to my mom about it, but my mom is obviously not the type of person that would collect money for me. Like it's not gonna be exchanged, because I think what that creates is like a sense of like property, like ownership. Like, oh, I paid for you, so now
you're mine.
You're mine.
To do with what I please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it probably comes from a toxic place. I haven't done my research about it either, so I mean that's kind of all I can say about it. But no, I'm not gonna tolerate like no one is gonna tell me, oh, he didn't pay this, so therefore you're not.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ has paid the price for all of us, so therefore, no. Like, I mean, that's just, it's very unreasonable to me. But I mean, I'll do it for the optics. I don't care. Like that.
Yeah, I'm the same way, because I definitely will do it for the tradition. My dad is very, very traditional. If you don't bring anything to his people, you're not marrying me. That's just the simple fact of it. So definitely and I definitely think it plays, like who you marry plays a part, because if I, like disregarding the fact that my dad is traditional, like if my dad wasn't traditional, if I wasn't marrying a Nigerian man, I probably wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But because like the man I'm dating now is Nigerian, so I'm talking from the view that I'm gonna marry him. So speaking on like that relationship, like for sure, like that's not even a question. Like because his family's so traditional, my family, my dad's side is very traditional. If we don't do that, it'll probably cause a lot of family drama. Do I agree with it? No. I definitely think it's like literally buying property. I don't think there's a difference between that and like slavery
buying
or
a goat.
Literally, like what's the like you're literally purchasing somebody, like buying somebody, like, and I've seen arguments on like social media where people are saying like, oh, there was an argument about can a man rape his wife, and not to change gears or anything, but people were saying like, no, a man cannot rape his wife because he bought her, like he paid for her, like I paid the bride price on your head, you're mine, like what you have in your leg is mine, I have the right to it.
That's so cringeworthy.
Like but yeah, I mean, my husband, he will bring some maybe palm wine or something small, but
yeah, like
you're not gonna write him a list. You're gonna take what he brings you.
And the way that, I mean, at least the way that like the Yoruba traditional wedding goes, like they have this whole like shebang. Like I want all of that. Like I want all the drama, all right. But it's not gonna be like, oh, like I think I went to a wedding, like, and the guy brought like a flat screen TV, and then the white family was like, oh no, that's not enough. Like you need to bring something else. And, I mean, it was just for like the visuals of it. I think it's funny. Like, it's not nobody's gonna be like, oh, don't marry my girl because you didn't bring the 10
you brought a
30 yam. You didn't bring
right. It's just part of the culture tradition.
Yeah, I think there's, in addition to it being like the property thing, I think it's also an element of like, there's also an element of like really cherishing what you're getting. Like, you are kind of leaving, as a woman, you are leaving like the safe nested comfort of your family to go to this man, which back in the day used to be like a stranger, and so there's this thing of like
family house, not even
exactly. And you're going to their family house. It's like, okay, is this family dedicated to taking care of you? Like, are they going to put the money down up front, to show that like they're going to
and have the capability to.
Yeah. Exactly. There's definitely another aspect to that. I definitely have to do my research on that.
I actually talked to my mom briefly, like probably a few years ago about that. And she said for her, she doesn't care. But if I'm dating a Senegalese man right now, so we'll probably do all the traditional things. But the way that I would see it is if he were to give that dowry, yes, my mom can distribute some of that money to like my grandparents and family just for show of he gave this and he, but the rest of the money is going towards the wedding. So it'll just be like a down payment on the venue or a down payment.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah. But our traditions, it's not just like the man's family bringing stuff. It's like the man's family bringing stuff, the woman's family bringing stuff. It's like a back and forth type of thing. So that in the fact that you guys are going back and forth exchanging gifts, it builds a stronger connections between the two families and all that stuff. So I would want to do that, but I don't even know how logistically that would work here in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know me for certain, like, I know my dad was saying, like, when it's time for me to get married, my husband's people in Nigeria would do it on our behalf. So is that like an option in your culture, or would it have to be?
That's
like
probably what would happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I want to see it. I want to feel it. I want to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, how do you guys define an alpha male versus like a beta male? Or is that such a thing? Like what kind of, how do you categorize men? That sounds really bad, but
I mean, alpha male is definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. A lot of times it's not even like the male is an alpha male, it's his personality is probably alpha to make him feel like an alpha male. You know what I'm saying? Some men are naturally that way, but some people, like short men, for example, they tend to be like more aggressive and to come off like as an alpha male, you know? Beta male, I don't know if we have the same definition, but I thought the opposite was omega male, no?
Alpha and omega. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was beta. But it might be omega.
I think it's beta.
Know.
Yeah, so beta is like a weaker male.
If that's by your definition.
Okay, because my definition, what I know alpha and beta to be is like the top two, like chief and then second in command.
Oh, I get you. So what's an omega male then?
Alpha and beta. And then omega is like the lowest ranking male, like the opposite of the alpha or the opposite of these two. So he's the, you know, the more feminine, not feminine, but you know what I mean. He's on the softer side. He's not as strong. He's considered the nice guy. You know, when we talk about nice guys, that he's the typical nice guy, you know. So, and then
a nice guy that never wins.
Yeah, nice guys usually come in last. Unfortunately, they usually come. It's true. You know, the alpha male is the sport, the basketball player, the tall one with the muscles and the tattoos. While the alpha male is probably the shorter guy, not as much muscle, you know, light skin. Maybe, I don't know.
Why you gotta be light skin?
According to the stereotype. The stereotype, the alpha male is probably the dark man.
Precious is vicious, yeah.
Toxic masculinity.
What are you talking about? Light skin.
Now we love light skin.
All right, Deej, what about you? Alpha and then the other, which we're not sure what it's called, but just the other.
Honestly, I don't feel like alpha and omega, beta, I don't think those are anything. I feel like at the end of the day, it's all about out there and not out there. Like big personality and chill personality. It's just like different types of people. I don't know. I never really thought about alpha man, beta man type thing.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it either, but the way I don't think it's based on personality in that regard. Like I think you can be chill and still be an alpha male. And I think you can be out there and still be a nobody male.
That's true.
Nobody. I mean, like whatever other version, omega, whatever it is, male, beta. But I think it's more about I think it's about like your presence and the way that you carry yourself and the way that you see yourself in regard to others. I think that I think you can be quiet and have like crazy presence. I think you can be shy, not shy, but like introverted, introspective, like not someone that is like always out there, always going to parties and still command respect, be a leader of your pack. Like I don't know. I think it tunes into like almost like when you think about it, you have to kind of think about like the animal kingdom. Like the alpha male is the one that's like more aggressive out there, like making sure that everything is taken care of. I think it's easier to. I think there's toxicity in both. There could be a toxic alpha male, and I think there could be a toxic omega male. I think a toxic omega male is someone that's like dependent on other people. Like, you get a relationship with a toxic omega male or a toxic beta male, and it's like, you're paying everything. Like, he doesn't do anything. He's just sitting at home. He's
thinks
lazy.
He's the catch.
Yeah, and then
he's surprised.
Like that man
just
with
lazy.
That JD.
Yeah,
but
that's
didn't
like
pass the bar.
Very toxic omega male. Like you're clearly not ahead of your pack. Like you're just not. You're not aggressive. You're a nobody.
Insecure.
You're insecure, and you feel like you need to project that on everyone else. And yeah. And then I think that I think we could all identify with toxic alpha males. Like the best example I think that you've given is domestic violence. Like you're just so big and so strong that you don't know where to contain it. You don't even know.
But I think that's a beta male. I feel like a domestic violence, a man who beats a woman is more likely a man who will not stand up to another man.
That's true.
Like,
you can look.
I don't know.
The reason why you're beating on this lady is because
she makes you feel powerful and strong,
right? And you feel weak when you're around your peers.
That's a good example. That's a good note. I guess toxic alpha male is just someone that takes their aggression to the maximum. Like doesn't know when to be more emotional, doesn't know when to get in touch with another side of themselves. Just always like they just take that aggression. I also think like like when there's a husband that like loses his job and then he gets like super insecure, like or like you're in a relationship. I think that's like a beta male characteristic, right? Because like you feel like your worth is because of your job, or your worth is because of either money that you have, or your worth like you don't have that confidence in yourself already. You know what?
But that's what men are taught. Your worth is in how you can provide. If you're not providing, then you're less than a man.
Right. While women, it's in the physical, which is why we get all these surgeries to look good, but a lot of us have no substance.
It's sitting busaka. Glory to God.
But I also think what toxicity, like for whether it's toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, is that lack of emotional intelligence. So when you're unable to have conversations about emotional topics or be able to be emotional and it not become like a volatile situation, that's like where things kind of tip over. Like a toxic masculine man cannot comfort someone who's having emotional problems because they themselves can barely understand their own emotions, let alone processing someone else's.
Right.
So the lack of emotional intelligence is just, that's the one marker that I'm like.
It's so crazy because things have to change, but it's like, where do you even start? Like you have to get in the psychology of things, and how do you change people's mind
with your own children?
Something they've been doing their whole lives. It's so crazy.
Start with your own kids.
Yeah, that's
with the
next generation. Like, I'm not about to be out here trying to teach you how to not be an asshole. Like, that's just
I mean, so what do you think? I mean, to be like transparent, I think emotional intelligence is something that like in the past few years and even currently, like I'm still kind of working on, just because I was never like the kid that was like always kind of wearing their emotions on their sleeves. Like that's not really how I communicated with my family when I was growing up. And even like my friendships, I take them with like, the way that I build friendships is like through humor and like, trying to let people into my life, but not, I've never kind of known that, by like emotionally kind of peeling my layers back, that's how people get to really know me. And that's, something that I'm still working on, something I still struggle with. So I guess from you guys' perspective, and maybe DG has something about this, like, how do you kind of like, like for someone like me that's kind of in that journey trying to figure out, okay, how do I kind of grow this side of myself? What's something that you've seen work, or do you have any advice, or do you just think you're a lost cause? Like, what's your point? What's your point of view there?
I actually think I'm really similar to you in that I struggle with, and I'm like working on my emotional intelligence, especially like within my relationships, because in the past I'm the chill Khadyja, and you guys know this. Like, I'm always chilling. Like, I don't get mad often. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just always a mellow person. So, one thing that I learned, especially in being in a relationship, is that being vulnerable is not being weak. So I've always felt like the fact that someone can get me in my bag so much makes me weak. Like, why am I like this? There's something wrong with me for feeling so strongly about this person or about a situation with this person. So, kind of understanding that I'm not weak, like this is, and trying to peel back why I feel like it's weak, and recognizing that this might end up becoming my strength. That's kind of how I've been working through it, and I'm starting to read books and stuff about this.
No, it's real though. You really need, because I feel like we feel like life will teach us everything that we need to know. But you gotta read books, bro.
Educate yourself.
Yeah.
Educate yourself on even like the emotional stuff.
Yeah, right now I'm reading this book by Bell Hooks called All About Love, and it pretty much breaks down the psychological parts of how women and men communicate love, and then also like how we are treated as children and how that impacts the way that we express love in the with our friends and our family and our significant others. I just started it. I'm not finished, but
okay.
I've been reading, so
that sounds good. I just started a new book too. It's about mindset and like how to frame your mindset to practice things like self-discipline, because self-discipline is the purest, I believe is the most purest form of self-love. Like, I feel like being able to, like, even if it's not what you want to do, but because you know that it's for the betterment of you, you're focused and dedicated to doing it, I feel like you can't love yourself no more than that. So that, I mean, this book really so far is really interesting. Like, it kind of teaches you how to frame your mind to basically get everything out of life that you deserve. Really good.
What is it called?
I just call it the mindset book, honestly. I'll find the actual name. I'll send it to you.
And the book that I just got done reading,
that we're reading in the links in the,
that
description.
Could be like the thing.
Yes.
Okay, because we funny and we educated. This is okay. I just got done reading Relationship Goals by Mike Todd. Honestly, if you're listening right now, put a comment down, put a fire emoji comment down, and I'm gonna do a giveaway of one book, because this book right here is gonna change your life.
Okay,
it's gonna change your destiny. This book is so good. It's so good, so good, so good. Like, it'll actually read you. Like, he's a pastor, Transformation Church, and I would read it. It's literally like, I don't know about you guys and the listeners, but like, I feel like there's so much about relationships that like you just try to learn by hearing your friends' experiences, going through your own experiences, hurting, and then like healing, and then and like I feel like in this generation we do relationships so wrong. Like, you leave a relationship and you feel like you're like half of the person you were before. Like, now you got to rebuild your whole life. But that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to determine like, oh, this person is not someone I want to spend the rest of my life with. On with the next one. Like, that's how it's intended to be. You're not supposed to be going
That's
through
the point of dating.
all the emotional hurt you're going through. And I feel like this book, like, I read it once, I'm going to read it again. Like, I'm going to read it again. I'm taking notes. Like, not to say that it has all the answers, but I think it's like a very, very good start, no matter what stage of relationship you're in. Like, I'm in a committed relationship, and I still feel like even the parts about like being single are so relevant to me. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that book. So yeah, read. The point is, read, educate yourself. You know what I'm saying? It is well with everyone. Anyways, okay, so game time. Even though we've probably been chatting for like an hour. Game. This or that. So, Deej, fire off.
All right, let me find it. Okay. Love or money?
Damn, I want to say
Let's
money.
see what you got to say about that.
I want to say money.
Money is love.
God's love
Money
is
loves
sufficient
you.
for me. Honestly, I'm sorry. Maybe because I have love, I feel like the next thing is money. Maybe if I didn't have love, I wouldn't. But honestly, money,
Yeah,
yo, like
money. Yeah, love don't pay the bills. Honestly, like I'd rather have
Keep
excess
the
money.
lights on.
Yeah, it sucks,
Yeah.
but
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's something that you shouldn't have to choose between. But if I had
Yeah.
to, I agree.
yeah.
I'd rather have my bills paid.
Yeah. Thank you guys for not trying to be philosophical. Like, you know, those people that be like, oh, would you rather $2 million right now or a 10-minute conversation with like a billionaire? The
If
fuck
you
I'm
don't
talking
give me
about
that
with
$2 million,
Like what?
They be like, oh, y'all not woke. Y'all wouldn't want to talk to Bill Gates for
It'd
10
be like
minutes.
you can invest. You can
Why?
invest in yourself. Like what?
so he can tell me
Invest
that
in
I can do
myself.
it.
Goodness.
The same billionaire that's on YouTube. I can watch his video.
Abby.
Bruh, don't even get me started. Anyways, all right, Deej, go again.
Oh, again? I thought he was gonna split this
You don't
up.
want to rotate?
Oh, let's rotate. Okay, sorry. Okay, my first one is shit. I lost my notepad. Okay. Would you rather be invisible or teleport?
Teleport.
Yeah.
You should say teleport too, Precious.
Yeah.
You be late as hell. So
be at my man's house like that, okay?
Thanks. Corona where?
All I'm thinking about right now is how if I could teleport, I would be in New York to get Rasta pasta right now.
Bruh. And I come back home just before the sun
Like
goes
just
down.
like that. Phew.
Crazy.
You
Never
can
late to
always make
work.
your own.
Bruh.
That's
No traffic.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, it's actually really easy to make. It's really easy to make.
But will
Rasta
it be like
pasta?
creamy like theirs? Like creamy?
Yeah, all you need is
creamy.
like heavy cream.
Heavy. I was about
cheese.
to say heavy cream. Bree's made it
Right.
before. Ask her for help.
And if you have the jerk seasoning, like the Mr. Island or something, it's like a paste. I'll send you a picture.
You can definitely make it.
I'll send you a YouTube video. I got you. I'll send you a YouTube video.
I actually like written recipes better. So if you find a written recipe,
all right.
I don't be like YouTube videos because I gotta keep going back and.
I know what you mean.
For you, I'll do that research.
Thank you so much. Love you, sis.
Sisterhood.
Okay. Fresh.
Okay, y'all. Okay, my question is, would you rather know when you're going to die or how you're going to die?
How?
That's kind of morbid, but how? I don't want to know when I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
If I know
that'll
how,
make me have a negative mind state, like state of mind.
If I know how, I think I'll like prepare I can either like prepare myself or I can try to infer when based on how. Like if I know how, then I know that as I'm getting myself into that situation,
this is it.
I'm about to die.
But you know, looking at it the other way, like let's say like you find out when you're going to die and it's in 10 years, right? So you live your life regularly for 10 years, right? But let's say you find out when you're going to die and it's a car accident. And you know, the cars are here every day. Like, does it like kind of change like the way you live your life knowing how more than it will?
It's gonna be a car accident. Guess who's gonna be a lockdown for the next forever?
Like you literally
can't. How I'm gonna die by a car accident when I don't leave the house?
You don't know if either you're gonna be in the car or if you'll get hit by a car while you're walking.
With the car coming to my apartment?
I'm dead. Extended lockdown.
No, that's facts though. I mean, you could definitely be living in fear if you just,
It depends.
Yeah. Whew, man. God knows what he was doing when he didn't tell us how we were gonna die because we would have been. Okay. Geez.
DeVito or Burna Boy?
Oluwa Bona. Yeah, yo. Sorry, Burna's vibe is just too different. But I feel like DeVito is the icon for Nigeria. And I'm fine with that. Like, he's great. Honestly, I don't know where this video is going to go, so I don't want to say what I want to say because DeVito has goons. But DeVito is less talented and more hardworking. If that makes sense.
I'm not even gonna say all of that because I don't know. All I'm gonna say is I feel like I get it. Like it depends. Like I just feel like I have more of a connection with David Doe because he's been around longer for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I like we have, I don't know, I shouldn't say we have a bond, but like obviously, I mean, Toby plays for David Doe, so yeah. But I have more of like I kind of understand him more because he's been around longer. I've gotten to like know him as an artist. He's grown. Burna Boy is great. Burna Boy is like super talented. I love his music. I just don't think I would pick him over David Doe.
The way I'm looking at it, like if you ask me to listen to one of them all day, like just play their music all day, I'd rather listen to Burna Boy all day.
Burna.
No,
yeah.
if you ask me, I'm listening to Naira Marley all day. That's all I'm listening to. None of these.
Fucking Malian.
I don't give.
Are you not ashamed of yourself?
Yes.
Are you not ashamed? I have a degree and you're a Marlian. How?
Look, educated Marlians. You were Marlians. Marlians. I'm a Christian Marlians. Okay. That's a whole other subset of Marlians. So get your facts straight.
Let's see what Naira Marley has to say about that.
No, that's funny though. Okay, my next one is. Oh wait, Deej, what was your answer?
Burna. Oh,
okay. This is kind of corny, but would you rather have the lights on or off in a room full of snakes? If you're in a room full of snakes, would you rather have the lights on or off?
Oh no, on. I can accidentally step on the snake's mouth.
No,
it's poisonous. Oh, I need them on so I can throw them off.
I don't know. I don't want to see them.
Yeah, but if you don't see them, that's worse.
The
enemy you know is better than the enemy you don't know.
Preach. I don't know. Because I feel like even if they don't touch me, just the fear of seeing them alone.
But imagine you have to get out to the door to get out. Imagine you have to get from where you are to the door to escape.
Honestly, the best thing is probably better I don't see them. Y'all don't know the type of fear I'd be having. Like literally, if I don't see them, I'll just and go. If I see them, I'm just gonna be crippled in fear. Like Jesus.
That's valid. I can see that perspective.
I don't know though. That's a situation I never want to be in. But that one was funny. Okay, go ahead.
My turn.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Would you rather marry a broke man with good sex or a rich man with bad sex?
Rich man.
Y'all gonna cheat. Y'all ain't shit. All right, let me
as long as you can reproduce and
not marry. Let's say by marry, like this is your fate for the rest of your life. So never have good sex again, to have a man with money, or have amazing bomb sex for the rest of your life.
And you never have money.
Okay.
So, still rich man.
So let me rephrase.
Yes, you do that.
Have good sex for the rest of your life, but not know when the next meal is going to be, or eating good for the rest of your life, buying yourself everything and anything you want, and his dick is little.
You know what's funny? The same joy I get out of having this sex. You know what can solve it? Louis Vuitton. Gucci can solve it. Mansion can solve it.
Right.
So there's no problem. Like
I'm
sorry, I did not come to this life to suffer. That's what I know.
And the way these vibrators and dildos are getting more and more advanced.
Very advanced. High quality.
They have sex dolls.
They can extract. They can retract. They can. Okay.
It will be going up and down, will be vibrating at the same time. It's like,
as in, like. No. Yeah, rich man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and end the video. Because it's been a minute. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And of course, remember, I'm going to do the relationship goals giveaways. So if you guys want this book, which has been a blessing, then comment fire emojis below. And we'll pick somebody and then send them the book. Okay? All right. Sounds good. Bye, guys.
You guys be safe.
Be safe.